welcome again to Something to Talk About. Thank you for joining us again tonight. We have an interesting guest I'd love you to meet. It's an incredible conversation with a priest who comes from Manila. I know, around here it feels like a dime a dozen, but this guy, a lot different. We're going to talk to him with our fruit and then some fries later and a lot of great conversation. Come on back for Something to Talk About. Good evening and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Patty Arroyo. I'm appreciative that you are with us this evening. I hope you're having a wonderful evening and I hope you're nice and satisfied with the end of Thanksgiving and the start of the Christmas season. Tonight we have a special guest, not only a special guest to the show, but he's a special guest on Guam. His name is Father Paul Factora, and he's from Manila, and he is, as you, I don't know if you can tell, he looks like he's wearing a sheet, but actually it's a habit. This is the habit of the Dominican order.
Yes, correct.
No, not really. We don't see that many Dominican priests on Guam. Are there not? Is there not a large population of them?
No, I think the Archdiocese of Guam is concentrating mostly of diocesan priests.
Right.
Unless we get invited.
I see. Okay. I see. So you are here as a visitor and a guest. Are you a guest of the St. Anthony Parish?
Yes. Okay. Monsignor Arroyo asked me to give.
Oh yeah, look, Monsignor Arroyo.
He asked me to give the retreat Advent recollection for the parishioners of St. Anthony for 2 days. And this coming Saturday, I'll be giving a talk for the liturgical ministers of the parish as well.
So why would they bring a priest of a different order all the way to Guam to do this?
Oh, you know, I think it's more of about improving the perspective of the priests and religious here. Sometimes we get to have some problems in terms of inbreeding. So what you know is what the other priests know. So maybe it's also good to
so you're sort of introducing a different approach to something.
Yes, different perspective. Basically with the same faith, but a different approach.
A different approach. So what is the approach? You're speaking to the parish about what? About the season.
Yes, the season of Advent, how to prepare for Advent. But since I've told you, most of the priests assigned here are diocesan, I'll be bringing some points regarding from the religious perspective side of it. That is the Dominican side of it. And Dominicans are known for veritas or truth. So most of the things usually, I would say, would be going along that route about truth and of course our love for the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Okay, so talk to me about truth. In what perspective are you talking about the...
Well, in whatever perspective, whatever degree, whatever life or level that we are in, there's always the need for us to speak about the truth, whether it's about abortion, population, about corruption in the government. There's always a need for us Dominicans to always stand up and to speak about truth.
It's really interesting the differences between living in being a Catholic in a country like the Philippines, and being a Catholic in a place like Guam. It's very small. It's a small community.
Yes.
And a lot of the issues that we have, either politically or socially, are on a very much smaller scale.
Yes,
it's on a very large, grander scale in the Philippines, because it is ripe with corruption, and there are other social issues that engage the Catholic Church or engage the Church to address. Unlike on Guam, where you don't find a lot of that from the pulpit. You know what I mean? Because of this great separation.
Correct.
But in the Philippines, what is different about the culture that there is such a reliance on the religious to talk to the people about the social ills that is happening in the country?
Yes, there's a great, even though it is emphasized at the state and religion, state and church, they're very much separated in the Philippines. But for so many for so many periods of time, the church has been very pivotal in terms of answering social clamors, in terms of solving social issues. Just the one that we had last time, it's about RH, Reproductive Health Bill. The church was very adamant in having this bill passed, although of course, after some time, the congressmen, the senators passed it, but the church did not just stay there and just simply let this thing pass. We were there, even in the pulpit. Every time we go to the pulpit, we preach about the evil effects of reproductive health, and how it's going to destroy the whole nation and basically the family.
How much of an influence does the church have on people's perspective? And more so, how much of an impact do you have on the people who make the policies?
Oh, well, first thing, we have to realize that the Philippines is 90 to 95% Catholic. And most of these Catholic people are very regular in going to the church. So we usually use the pulpit, not just, of course, to preach about social issues, but we always bring along with those social issues, what would Christ say? What would Christ preach or teach about this particular social issue? So in terms of the church influencing people, the church is very influential.
And so there
are many Catholic schools. So,
but are there many Catholic leaders, congressmen and senators that will listen to the church?
Yes, correct.
Have you been, or more often than not, have you been successful in changing the minds of the politicians about legislation?
I think the most successful event wherein the church played this role was in the 1986 EDSA revolution. It was to topple the former President Marcos.
Right.
Church leaders, the bishops, the sisters, cardinal, they were very influential. They were very instrumental in that revolution.
It must be at the same time exhilarating that the church still has a powerful voice. It must also be very dangerous.
Yes, at times, because media really plays big time in terms of discrediting the church. But if we know that as a church they have nothing against us, we could always stand up for the truth. As long as we know that we're fighting for the truth and we're not doing anything, then media has nothing against us, or they cannot put anything against us.
Right. It's hard to take. It's hard not to take your side.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that. If you're in the pursuit of the truth, right?
Yes.
Tell me, with so many social problems, there is a lot of poverty in the Philippines. I mean, I've only been to Manila, and that's a good insight as to what the rest of the country might look like. If the most populous city, it looks like that.
Yes.
How do you wrestle with that? I mean, there are so many issues in that country to step up behind and to try to fight, but the lives of people and the impoverished and the quality of life must be really difficult for someone like you to see on a daily basis. And the second part of that question, if you don't mind, does it still tug at your heartstrings when you see that devastation and poverty every day like that all day?
Oh yeah, of course, of course. The government is zeroing on the cause of this poverty, which is overpopulation, and they would blame the church for not supporting the program of the government in terms
Planned
of
Parenthood,
controlling the population. But I think the basic issue here is that whatever the population may be, the government has to provide jobs. Whether we are 75 million, whether we are 50 million, or over 100 million, I think that's the number one responsibility of the government, to provide jobs. And since they could not provide jobs, they would want to curtail, they would want to cut the
number of people
population. But I think that's wrong.
Well, I understand the concept, but at the same time, you cannot. Do you wrestle with that? I mean, you cannot keep producing and producing and producing
yes.
if your bottom doesn't support it. If there isn't a pillar to help support it.
Oh, well, we have programs in the church. We tie up with NGO or non-governmental organizations, in order to provide jobs for these people. Not just jobs, livelihood programs, wherein they themselves in their own little communities, these NGOs and the church would come in order to help this community to support themselves by producing good products from raw materials. That is where the church would come in. And as you said, you just visited the Philippines, Manila.
Manila.
Manila. But if you go outside Manila, the population is not that big.
Yeah.
There are jobs outside Manila.
Not every place looks like the big capital city.
Yes,
Of course,
correct.
of course. I mean, there's a great concentration of people, and I think there's also conflict because you have people who are there in a metropolitan environment
Yes,
that don't have the same kind of jobs. The fact it being the capital city. I mean, I think
Yes,
that's any
correct.
city, anywhere you go in the world.
And I think that is where also the church and NGOs would come in. They would try to develop communities outside Metro Manila so that people will be attracted going to those communities, even outside the metro.
of the city. Well, it's good you have a place to go. I mean,
Yeah.
the Philippines is a very large
Yeah, I know we have
country, and there-
7,100
islands.
islands, and people just want to go to
Yeah.
Manila.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like those people coming in Manila, they would want to go to the US.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of the modern world. There's maybe more opportunities to make a big life, or
Yeah,
right.
in a way.
That's the attraction.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. But there's also a way in order to bring this commercialism, to bring this modernization to these provinces.
Yeah.
There are opportunities, lots of opportunities. It's just that people miss these opportunities.
We're speaking with Father Paul Factora. He is visiting us from the Philippines, and you might have heard just what sounds like what is his entire life, but there is much more to this man than you would even expect. And I found this out. He's an overachiever, and he's got he wears a lot of different hats, as well as the habit. When we come back, we'll tell you about the other Father Paul that does other work outside the church. Come on back.
Okay.
Yay.
That went well.
That's very good. Good. Welcome back to Something to Talk About tonight. Our guest is Father Paul Factora. He's from the Philippines.
Correct.
From the University of Santo Tomas.
Yes,
Now,
right.
this is the other story about it. Now, before the break, we were talking a bit about what he's here for. But now, we got to talk about his life. I said you were an overachiever, and I found out that not only are you a priest, but you are also a registered nurse.
Yes, a registered nurse. Before entering the priesthood, I already finished Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I took the board examinations. I passed it with flying colors. I topped the board examinations, by the way. And after which, I got to practice nursing for 4 years. 2 years as company nurse, and then 2 years as a staff nurse, bedside nurse in a big hospital.
Which hospital were you?
University of Santo Tomas Hospital. But I got this feeling that I needed to do something more. I didn't know what it was. So after several meditations, reflections, I guess I needed to enter the seminary.
No kidding.
The rest, they say, is history.
It's history. But your parents then were encourage you? Tell me about your family.
My family resisted at first when they found out that I was entering. I am the fifth among six siblings, and I could say that I'm close with my parents, especially with my mom. So when I told them that I'm entering, they were just silent, and then after some time they cried. And then I let it simmer for a year, and after a year they were able to accept it. But
what was it? Was it an economical thing? Was it financial? Did they think that because you were a nurse and that you might have been making a good living?
No, but I think it's sort of, in the Philippines we're closely knit family, and they thought that once I entered the seminary, they will not be
they
able
would see you,
yes, because that is the pre-Vatican concept of priesthood is. Once you enter, you're already detached from your family. But here, I get to write them every month. When I was in the seminary, I got to visit them once in a while. And now that I'm a priest, I could visit them as often as I can.
Anytime you
Yes,
want. But it's the
correct.
formation period, which
Yes,
which is
correct.
well, like anything else that you're forming for.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. Okay, but in addition to all of that, we're not done
Okay.
yet. Because in addition to that, you are also teaching canon law.
Yes, I'm
So are you
teaching.
also an attorney?
Yes, I'm a canon lawyer.
A canon lawyer.
After entering the seminary, I finished philosophy, and then I did theology, because these are prerequisites before you could have a specialization in theology, philosophy, and canon law. I specialize in canon law. I finished my licentiate, and I'm a doctor in canon law
Wow.
also. And then after finishing my doctorate, I am now teaching canon law among professors, among priests, among seminarians. Some of
At
whom are
University of Santo
University
Tomas.
of Santo Tomas.
But in addition to that, you're
Yes.
also still maintaining, you're teaching the
Yes,
education
correct.
for nursing, right?
Yes, correct. The University of Santo Tomas, where I'm assigned at right now, is composed of 40 to 42,000 students.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, the University of Santo Tomas is, by the way, the oldest university in Asia. It's even older than Harvard University.
And that's a Catholic university?
Yes, a Catholic university.
Established
1611.
Oh my word.
So last 2011, we
By the
celebrated.
Spanish?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We celebrated the quadricentennial
Oh my
last
gosh.
2011.
Wow.
And the university holds a distinction of the largest or the biggest Catholic university in the whole world, holding all the students in one campus. That's just one campus.
Oh, that's significant because
Yes.
because you with the day's technology, you can take these satellite classes.
Yes, correct.
But these are on campus
Yes,
on a daily
campus.
basis.
Yes. So
That
just
is
try to
huge.
imagine.
And so do you oversee the nursing program?
Oh, yes. Yeah. The university is composed of 22 different colleges or institutes or departments. Nursing, medicine, rehabilitation sciences, engineering. I'm the one who's in charge of the College of Nursing, being a nurse that I am. And I administer the College of Nursing together with the
goodness.
dean. The dean is the one who's in charge of the academic formation of the students,
Right.
while I'm the one who's in charge of the non-academic, which is
Right.
spiritual formation of the students, the structure, facilities of the whole building. And I
How
have
are you-
2,000 students.
How are you even able to come to Guam? I mean, are you
Yeah.
on a break now or something? Or?
No, no, no,
Oh, look
no.
at what's coming our way.
Oh, wow.
Food. Ooh, food. Here's some. Have you?
That looks
heard
nice.
These are
Yeah.
called waffle fries, right?
Oh.
They're kind of like waffle fries. Can I get a napkin real quick?
That looks nice.
So you have time to.
Yes, I have masses, I have confession.
Oh my
I
gosh.
have retreat recollections.
And how
I don't
old? Can I ask, Father? How old are you?
Oh, I'm already 40. I only look young.
You're only 40.
Yeah.
Wow, those are
40.
Yeah, you do look young though. But I think it's our Filipino blood that I'm just
Yes.
speaking for me too. But
Yes.
our Filipino blood that makes us look so young. So
And on top of that, I also work in the tribunals. I help in the marriages being filed for the declaration of annulment. So once in a while, twice a month, I would go into...
But isn't that interesting though? Because you can have a declaration of annulment, you can get
Yes.
annulled, but it's not legal to have to be divorced in the Philippines.
there is legal separation,
But not divorce.
not divorce.
So annulment is what then?
Annulment is declaring that the marriage is null and void in the first
Within
place.
within the church. Within the
yes,
church.
Yes, meaning there's no marriage at
So
all.
if it's not recognized in the church, but it is recognized civilly,
They're still married.
they're still married, no
They're
matter
still
what.
Yeah, no matter what.
Isn't that interesting? Was
Yes.
that a piece of legislation that was born because of the rich
Yes.
Catholic history?
Yes, correct.
Is it because of that?
Yes.
Isn't that?
And
I think that's interesting because the church will recognize that it didn't exist.
Yes.
But civilly, it will exist until the end of time.
Hopefully.
Isn't it?
Yes.
I think that's kind of interesting that the law says you will be married and the church says you're no longer.
I think this is in connection with your question a while ago,
Yeah.
how influential is the church in terms of the government, politics,
Yeah.
constitution?
And that's one way.
One way.
That's really very interesting.
And I hope that divorce would not be legalized in the Philippines. That is a different
that's
thing.
the thing. It's a whole
Yeah.
different thing. Now,
Yeah.
you don't practice at all medicine at all.
Nursing. No, I don't get to practice nursing.
I don't know where you would have time.
in the
but-
hospital, but I take charge of the convent, and whenever old sickly priests,
Oh, right.
yeah, I take charge of them.
So
With
sort of like
medications.
like a mercy care sort of thing.
Yes, correct.
It's-
I would be contacting
Is there
the
a hospice
doctors.
care or there a
Nothing. Nothing.
yeah? There's no hospice care for priests there.
No.
How many
They-
priests do you estimate are in the Philippines? With
In the
with
Oh.
95% of the countrymen are Filipino. I mean, are Catholic. There must be thousands,
Yes, thousands.
tens of
only.
thousands, or thousands.
Probably 15, 20,000 compared to 75 million or
Yeah.
100. I think we're already 100 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Recently, the Philippines has had the unfortunate distinction of having one of the worst typhoons
Oh yes.
in
Yolanda.
history, with the situation in Tacloban.
Yes.
What do people attribute some of these natural disasters? Sometimes we tend to read more
Oh.
into them
Uh-huh.
than maybe the church would like us to, because I think that people believe that God doesn't work that
Oh
way.
yes. Uh-huh.
But you can't escape that that the you know that people feel like this devastation comes upon us because of sins or something of that we committed. I'm going to go ahead and put some. Do you like
good.
ketchup?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
have some later.
Okay, I'm just
I
going to pour
think
it for
the
you.
spirituality and religiosity of the Filipinos have matured a lot. And I haven't heard anybody who blame God.
They're blaming God. Yeah,
no.
Because in effect, that's what they do. It may be for you, but I think that people don't necessarily want to blame God as much as they want to find a reason to reconcile or find a reason to rehabilitate or something. From a spiritual point, a cleansing kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or to lay blame on themselves that they've done something, so this is penance. Do you understand?
Yes. But as I've said, no, people.
You don't hear that?
Yeah,
We get
I
that
don't
all the
hear it.
time.
Really?
Yeah, you know what? We have a holiday December 8th,
Okay,
Immaculate Conception,
yeah.
Feast of Immaculate Conception, and the legislature, they took that out of the government of Guam as a list of holidays it observed.
Oh, really?
On the day of December 8th, we had one of the worst typhoons that Guam has ever had. Just devastation. And so everybody read into that. Everybody said, and they even had mothers of some of the senators that were involved in voting against it telling them, you watch out, the Blessed Mother is going to come after you.
There have been, them small talks because that was about the time, a few months after the reproductive health bill was passed. And once Yolanda came, there are some people who say, God is punishing.
See, that's what we say about, and you know what
Yeah.
they did? The first thing they did? They reenacted the December 8th. They put it back into the law that it's a GovGuam.
Oh,
I think
good
everybody
for
got
you.
too.
Good
They got
for
too
you.
afraid because it happened on December 8th of all days. Isn't that amazing?
That's good, yes.
Yeah, that is amazing. I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy. You're in high demand here.
Thank you for
seeing
having
him.
me.
No, it's my pleasure. He's been all over the island, and even in his free time, we found something for him to do.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate it. You look like you've done TV before. Have you done TV
Yes,
before?
yes. When I was in the seminary, I also was part of the media group of the seminary.
See?
I
He's
also
a jack of
appeared-
all trades and a master of God, right?
Oh, yeah.
Father, thank you very much.
Thank you, too.
Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you.
That's something to talk about for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Come and enjoy some fries. It's at the King's in Tamuning and fruit. Have a nice evening. Good night.